Good evening, and you are welcome to another exclusive interview powered by News.Band Television. I am Augusta Neka. Here today, we are going to be discussing women participation in politics towards Nigeria 2023 elections. And as our guest, we have Miss Amina Ibrahim, Bibi Farouk. Miss Amina is a principal partner at OIS and Partner, a law firm in Abuja. She has over 3 decades post-call to the bar and holds a master's degree in law from the University of London. Of course, in United Kingdom, she is a human rights and immigration lawyer working with refugees and migrants, including corporate law and arbitration. Nigeria, she was acting zonal coordinator at the National Human Rights Commission from 2005. And by 2007, she was the National Planning Commission and on the UNDP desk of the International Cooperation Department, Chief Legal Officer, and was the head of administration in 2020. She has participated in the review of some Nigeria's bilateral and multilateral agreements in the National Planning Commission. She's also the coordinator of the State Infrastructure Technical Working Group of the National Integration Infrastructure Master Plan. Ms. Amina has pioneered training and international cooperation department at the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, despite the COVID-19 challenges. For the position of House of Representatives, representing Gizawa and Gabasawa local government. Ms. Amina, thank you for honoring our invitation today.
Hello?
Hello, Ma, can you hear me?
Yeah,
can anyone hear me?
But I couldn't hear you for a while. Yeah, I can hear you now, yes.
Okay, I was trying to introduce you.
Right.
Did you hear my introduction?
I heard some of it. I didn't hear the last bit, but yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, she's also okay. All right, and like I said, we are going to be talking about women participation in politics towards Nigeria 2023 election, and we have Miss Amina Ibrahim, Bibi Farouk. She's a legal practitioner and a public affairs commentator. Thank you so much, Ma, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Now, the clamor for women participation in politics has been gaining momentum. And with 2023 elections in view, how will you analyze women's preparation towards the forthcoming elections?
Right. Good afternoon, or rather good evening, ladies and gentlemen and viewers. Thank you for your question. You see, women have always been prepared, to be honest. I mean, if you look at the last election, 2019, there were more women that were contesting for elections than at any other time in the history of this country. It's the factors that stop them from getting to that position that one needs to address, or at least the country needs to address, in my view. Recently, PDP had their convention and they had their elections and positions, and much to our surprise, even though it is in the constitution, Inna Chiroma had contested for, I think, vice chairman of the party. She never got it, and one wonders, when are we going to change that kind of attitude? I'll be speaking, to be honest, mostly from the perspective of the northern Nigerian woman, because I think that is the woman that has not been represented, or is not even being spoken about. And we have been bundled, if you like, into a particular corner, because there's always the talk of religion and culture and all that stops women from participating in politics, which is not the case. And it is not the case because, I mean, we have seen the Gamba Sawabas, and we have seen the, Leila Dogonyaros and all those ones that were in those days even, as active as the men. They just didn't vie for offices. I suppose that's why we didn't see them. But if you go back in history and you look at Nana Asma'u, I mean, every Nigerian that is from the north that is a Muslim will, of course, know the history of Usman Amfodio. And if you look at the history of Osman Afford and his daughter Nana Asma'u, if she was that political and if she had that political and intellectual sophistication at that time, not only to be a teacher, to be a student, and to even had a political movement called Entaru, people don't know that. And if they could do that in the 19th century, you wonder what is happening in the 21st century that has, taken women back to, the level of, even before the 19th century. So what is the fate of that Northern Nigerian woman if she cannot represent herself in matters that affect her? Obviously, also, they will tell you about the religion, to the extent that you find, I know that in some states, I will not name the states, but the House, the chairman, House Committee on Women Affairs is a man. Now that it's a terrible situation. And look at the entire 19 states in northern Nigeria. You have the one singular woman that is a senator. I mean, it doesn't say well, about our men and about us also. But women have always been ready. They've contested, but factors that like weaponization of hunger and poverty have stopped them. I mean, every woman wants to get whatever she can for her children and for her family, which is what makes us different from the men. And you find that when politics starts, monies are being thrown about everywhere. Women don't have that kind of money, so it becomes an issue for them in terms of their participation in politics. And because there's hunger in the land, and because there's a lack in the land, there's a lot of poverty in the land, you find that the woman that would normally not, they're very politically savvy, you'll find, but because of that hunger, she would rather take the 1,000, 2,000 and go and vote for whoever it is that the Godfather has anointed at that particular time, and just move on, because she knows that it doesn't matter how she tries to vote for a woman like her, that woman will not get it anyway, because there's already a Godfather that has nominated. Unfortunately for us also, you find that now with COVID that has come into the situation, women have gone back to the home. They are not usually, they're usually the carers of the home. They're the nurses and they're the housekeepers, and their monies have gone into that now, into trying to assist in the home. So this is really for us a setback. And I hope women are going to be looking at it in that perspective, so that we don't, just go back now and, not come out again, because COVID is going to go. So that has been a setback for us. Monies are always spent and in campaigns, and women really don't have that money. I must reiterate that again. Excuse me, my voice cracks sometimes. In that kind of situation, where the woman has to make that choice between looking after her family or doing things for her children and her, parents and her home and politics, you'll find that she will kind of, shy away from getting involved, because of course she doesn't have that much to throw around. Another problem we have, is the interface with the stakeholders. It requires money. Women don't have that kind of money. So going around, and sensitizing her constituents, it takes money. She doesn't have that kind of money. Engagement with the media, it takes money. She doesn't have that kind of money. Town hall meetings also take some money. She doesn't have that. But in my experience, to be honest, where the politics is properly played and people are allowed to vote for the people that they want to vote for, it can be a fantastic game. Like they say, it is a dirty game, not in my opinion and not in my experience. And I will share this experience with you. My father was a politician. We have a political family anyway. We have always been vocal about issues in the country. But my constituency wrote me a letter. Actually wrote me a letter. And I think maybe at the end of this program, I will send it to my Oga so that he can have a look. They actually wrote me a letter asking me to contest. Now, just to show you how ready women are and how tired the country is with the usual business. A local government in Kano, as conservative as people think Kano is, to write to a woman and ask her to come and contest, they're tired. They have been through it, and look, they just want to change some things. That is the kind of change that Nigeria is looking for. And women can do it, and they know that they can do it. So when they sent me that letter, and I consulted with my relatives and my family and my children and husband, and everybody just said, look, why not? It's about time people start to hear what the women want to say as well. And obviously, this is a time, the last election showed us the kind of capacity women have. It was women that were respectable, that were responsible, that were women of distinction. They were women of caliber, and they had the capacity to get into this thing. They were the ones that contested mostly. But unfortunately, of course, they didn't get it because it was business as usual for the politicians. So in my experience really was, okay, the people are ready. They would give us those seats, but the political institution itself needs to have an overhaul. We called imams and local government chairmen during the last election and sensitized them and spoke to them. In fact, they were the ones that were telling us, look, it is not even against our religion for a woman to contest. There are positions where she could find that she could find challenging, but that she has always been in the political fray of things from the very beginning of Islam itself. So when we discovered that was the case, we of course had more courage to go ahead and do it. But another thing that stops women from coming out to contest, which would help us in the next election if it is removed, is that infamous godfatherism and the automatic ticket. Like I said, from the moment somebody is nominated by the party or by the party chieftains, then what is there to do anymore? Everybody will just say, okay, whatever it is, whoever gets the ticket anyway will not get it because they have already made up their minds. And it happened in my case. I had 137 votes in the primaries, and my opponent had 6 or 7, I can't remember. But he eventually got the ticket to contest the election. Obviously, he failed because the people were not, they had already wanted him out. So he failed, and it went to the other party. Now, you see, it meant that our party had lost, and that kind of thing also is a negative for a woman, because for me, and honestly, but for the fact that the people had this confidence, I would not even think of getting into politics again. But then again, it's like an aluta continua thing, so we just carry on and move on, and there's also the thuggery. That has to be stopped. That gives women, that's a challenge for us women. So altogether, so that I don't
hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, I can hear you now. Hello.
Okay, yeah. So I understand. Okay. And from your submission, you were complaining about money politics and how money has influenced politics.
Yep. Yeah, because what I'm trying to say is, in summary, is that
the agitation to promote women's participation in politics is the reduction.
Sorry, I can't hear you very well.
Okay, I was trying to say that. Okay, what I was trying to say is one of the agitation to promote women's participation in politics is the reduction of
breaking off
nomination forms for women. Do you agree that this is necessary to? Can you hear me now?
You said for women is what?
For the removal or reduction of the amounts paid for nomination forms by political parties.
Well, some political parties even give them free, but it doesn't mean that she's going to get that ticket as well.
Yeah, so I'm asking, is the fact is political party giving women the nomination form free of charge? Is it necessary to increase women participation in politics?
It will help them in the sense that they don't have to bring out monies that they don't have. I mean, if they could get that, it could be part of the affirmative action sort of that we're asking for, that you give women some leeway, that they need to be involved more, that their numbers have to be augmented. So yes, it will help, I think, because to be honest with you, a lot of women don't have the kind of money that is being thrown around in politics.
Okay, and you contested for the 2019 elections. I know you briefly talked about it in your earlier submission, but can you just expatiate? Can you just tell us how that how you your experience, right?
I'm sorry, you have to repeat that. I didn't hear it at all.
Yeah.
You wanted me to. Yeah, you wanted me to do what?
You mentioned earlier about you. Just expatiate, just tell us how the 2019 experience affected you and how you feel it can be improved on.
Okay, like I said, my experience is different from a lot of the women that I spoke to, because I got an invitation. I didn't just come out to say I was going to contest. I actually got the invitation. So they were willing to work with me throughout, to make sure that we got the ticket, to the point where even the so-called delegates money that they said, people said that they have to give, my own delegates did not demand anything from me. So to be honest, I can't, speak for everybody in this case. I can only speak about my own experience. But again, I will go back to the fact that the lack of funding, the insecurity, the poor party structure where the woman is always the woman leader and nothing else, the stereotyping, women also are stereotyped when it comes to politics, and so they shy away from getting there so that they don't get names that are not their own. Those are the things I think that are, keeping women away. That is those that even keep away. But otherwise, I think women are ready to come out now. I think we have network challenges, isn't it?
All right, let me throw in a question here. What do you think the government can do to encourage women participation in politics?
Now that is where it is. You see, there's a bill now in the House, isn't it? I think the executive needs to support that bill. I think there's a temporary special measures thing that is happening where women, seats are reserved solely for women, just to boost the numbers of the women in the legislature. And this is used, this special measure is used to remedy the low numbers of women. It will assist in the affirmative action that every government has been, promising and has never fulfilled. So I think that would help if the executive, would assist us in whichever way. I don't know. And it is also a fast track method or a measure to improve the women's political representation. And never mind the cost, because they will tell you that that would be big government again. But if there's going to be anything to be removed, then I think it should be, let's go back to, and adopt a 2/3 a system where not more than 2/3 of any gender should be in any particular institution, or for example, the House. So if there's going to be men and women, which is what we hope, then not more than 2/3 of them should be men, or not more than 2/3 of them should be women. That would assist if they don't want to give the temporary special measures that we are talking about. Otherwise, the temporary special measures would work in the sense that it's time bound. After a while, we'll have a level playing field. You see, men don't. A lot of people, the populace, really don't even know what women can do. Unfortunately for us, sometimes it is the wrong kind of woman that is put in a position and she does not deliver, and then we're all painted or tarred with the same brush. So I think once that changes and they see other women coming out and showing what they can do and the caliber of women that they are, I think things would change, and then we can contest all in a level playing group. Playing, yeah. And also, why don't we adopt the twinning system? Where if the man is chairman, the woman will be vice chairman, Or if the woman is president, then the man can be vice president. Those things we can do. I think if we can adopt some things or think out of the box, we'll be able to get women.
Another thing here is one of the popular sentiment is that women are not willing to do the groundwork to them on a platter. You hear me?
No, what did you say?
I said that one of the sentiments talking about women in politics is that women are not willing to do the groundwork and instead expect that politics or power be served to them on a platter. Do you agree with this sentiment?
Did you say women are not willing to do the work, that they want to be given the positions on a platter? Is that what you said?
Yes, that's what I said. Do you agree with the sentiment? Do you agree with this sentiment?
No, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. But when women follow them to campaigns, cooking and cleaning and looking after them, they don't think that they're doing anything, do they? How much do they get paid for that? What position, do they aspire through that? I think it's just another way of saying, that they don't want to give it to them. But look, we're 50% of the population in that country. Who says we don't have? Why should we not have a say in our own affairs? Why? I mean, look. Let us even come to reality. If we think that it is the Nigerian woman that is being given something on a platter, look at the numbers elsewhere. And the percentage of women in parliaments, in other countries. I think Rwanda has 63, South Africa has 42%, Senegal is 43, Mozambique is 39, Ethiopia, Angola, all those ones. Nigeria, the giant of Africa, has 6%. So did those women also did they get it on a platter as well? Then what we need to do is to look at who can, who can prove, or rather, who can achieve for the people, who is the one that is going to deliver, and that is where we should start from. If we're looking at them as male and female, first of all, and those that have and those that don't have, because that is what it is. If you're a man, you have. If you're a woman, you don't have. Then obviously we're not going to get anything. Look, at this particular time, Nigerian women, in fact, are even, they're tired of platitudes and inanities. And I'm speaking for a lot of Nigerian women when I say that we are not even asking for our rights to participate in in things that affect our lives. We are demanding that we get our rights and our positions to speak for ourselves. I mean,
but madam, let me, if I can step in here.
Yes.
You have just given us a litany of challenges that women faces when they dare to step into the political arena. And then you have also given us what the parties have done, maybe giving women forms free instead of paying for them, and yet that hasn't helped. You have also stated about government efforts, and yet we are still at 6%. Do you think the minimum women participation in politics of Nigeria is a cultural problem? It's more of a cultural impediment rather than, men in politics not allowing women to compete equally with them.
I don't think it is cultural. I just think it's bully tactics. That's all. And that is why they are throwing away the monies around. Those women that can afford to play that game with them have got what they wanted. It's only that it's not all of them that have that kind of capacity to do the kind of things that we would want them to do for us as women. But I don't think it is about, I think it's just bully, to be honest.
Okay, let me further expatiate on what I mean. In the Nigerian family, for instance, do parents treat their girls, the way they treat their boys? Do parents give their girls the same opportunities that they give to their boys? What do you think?
Okay, like I said, you see, my knowledge about the Nigerian woman is limited, like many Nigerian women, because there's 250 different languages in Nigeria. Obviously, you're talking about 250 different cultures and traditions. So the one that I know is the one I will speak of, right? If women were not given opportunities, you and I would not be having this conversation. And I told you about the woman since the 19th century, who is a Nigerian and another Nigerian woman, Nana Danfodio, and what she achieved. So it's not a cultural thing. It is not a religious thing. If I tell you the Caliph Umar, which was the second Caliph after Abu Bakr in the Islamic Caliphate, actually gave a woman a minister of finance position or a minister of commerce position because she was in charge of the whole market of the capital of that empire, which is literally you're saying she's the minister of finance. So if at that point, which is 1,400 years ago, women still had something to do with public life, I mean, what are we talking about now in the 21st century? And that is just the one woman. There is also the third caliph, which was after Umar, who said when a man wanted to stop his wife from speaking on political affairs, he said, let her speak, for she's more sincere in advice than you. And that was then 1,400 years ago. We still had that, the world knew women or knows women as those that are compassionate and as sincere and that they will do it like they're supposed to. And that was even then. Now, look, if we come back even after the Prophet's time, because there's a long list of them, if I want to tell you about the women that did things in the Islamic era, look at the women now in our own lifetime. Look at Benazir Bhutto. Look at Sheikha Hasina of Bangladesh. These were women, Muslim women, but they had that political clout and they had the opportunity to even lead in their own countries. So it is not about an Islamic thing. In my cultural setup, it is the women that go, to start to, when there's going to be a marriage, which is really the basis of all our communities, isn't it? The home. It is women that represents the whole thing. Why don't men go and do the representation? It is when they've finished all the arrangements, then the men come and do the marriage ceremonies. So is that not a form of representation? Why can't she go and represent herself in other arenas if she could do that, if she could start a community, for example? I think it's just bully, to be honest. It's just because the women don't have that kind of money and because they have weaponized the poverty and the lack and all that. That is why women are not able to participate along with men in Nigeria.
Okay, well, let me
allow... Can you hear me now?
I'm raising my hand. Can I?
Yeah, please allow Stella Omonebo to contribute. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I've been listening to you and it's quite interesting, but there are some things that came up to my mind. Women not being able to participate in politics in Nigeria. Who is to be blamed? I have personal experiences and I would like to share my thoughts with us this evening. First of all, women don't give one another opportunities. Who are the first people to castigate a woman who wants to come out into politics? A woman. Women castigate them. They feel that that woman is being too forward. The place of a woman is to take care of her family and everything. And women tend to paint those women in politics, as dirty and as a promiscuous, and the society paints them, terrible, which is most unfair. And if you look at the first people to cast stones against women in politics, they are also women. How many women vote for women in politics? How many women will go out to campaign for a fellow woman? Rather, what they will be seeing is what that woman has done wrong in the past and what that woman is not doing well, instead of us to support ourselves. So before blaming the society, the Nigerian society, before blaming the men, even before blaming culture, I think we should first of all look inward as women. And I think we should start, I love what you said, we should start by having a kind of campaign, raising the consciousness of women, our fellow women, to support any woman who wants to come out in politics and not try to see that woman as a kind of a future thief, a kind of future promiscuous person. Let us see how, because I just have this feeling that what actually will save Nigerian politics to a large extent is women coming in, but we need to give one another the opportunity. Secondly, we should not take, the position of being subjected, as in as if we are helpless financially, as if we are to support ourselves. Women can even raise funds to sponsor fellow women, just like what you are doing right now. You could kind of raise a kind of what will I say, maybe a kind of NGO, a kind of organization that we raise money, raise funds to sponsor one or two women in our various communities in politics. And from there, we graduate. But we have to start from somewhere. We shouldn't be seeing ourselves as not being able to do something. If you look very well in homes, women are richer than men. Women are more hardworking. Women earn money. But the problem is we tend to divert our money into something else. Why men, stay focused on politics, we do something else. Let me leave it as that so that others can share their thoughts. Thank you.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Mrs. Ibrahim, how do you respond to this observation?
Yeah, you see, thank you very much, my sister. You made some very good points there, and I agree with you. But you see, again, it is only when we are there in that position that we can change things, to be honest. It is only that when we are there that we can, for example, ensure the education of the girl child. I mean, a lot of men will speak about it, I'm sure, but you are more, as a woman, you are more into it than you feel it more than he would feel it. As far as, that is what I think. So it's only when we get there, and the getting there is to do away with the money politics. Like you said, women can be richer than men, but women put their monies in their children, in their husbands, in their homes, and in all those unpaid jobs also that they do, which they pay themselves. So you see, until we remove the money politics, and you see, we kind of pick things from other countries. We'll say, in America they do this, in England they will do that. They don't do money politics like we're doing in our country. So obviously, I'm sure they will do it at some point, but they don't do it so obviously. So your money does not really put you in a place, especially in England, that I know, but your money does not necessarily you have to be a doer. They have to have faith in the fact that you are going to deliver before they vote for you. So yeah, and also we can start by insisting in the party structure that we're not just women leader. You can be a treasurer, you can be the chairman, you can be the vice chair, you can take any position. Exactly. And again, what you have said again saying that women are bad and we castigate ourselves. Yes, I think it's a tactic that the opposition, which is men in this case, have taken. But let us also, as women, put forward women that are respectable, responsible, and have the capacity. Those ones will automatically get respect. They don't even have to work hard at that, because it is obvious, and they have proved themselves elsewhere. And I think another way that the government would help us in that is, you see, when elections have come and gone and we don't have the 35% affirmative action like they have always promised, then the appointments also should be about women. Now, for the kind of votes women have given in the last election, I honestly thought if we have nothing from that government, at least every minister will have a female minister of state or something like that, because we have earned it and we deserve it. But you see,
all right. Let me throw in a question from Augusta. She said, political parties have less than a year to forward candidates to INEC for the 2020 elections. What's in plans towards the elections? More women putting their names forward, coming to contest for leadership positions towards 2020. What do you think about this?
I can't hear him, honestly. Sorry, can you repeat that, please?
Oh, I said, political parties have now less than 1 year to forward candidates to INEC for the 2023 elections. Yet we have not seen many women putting their names forward to contest for leadership positions for 2023. What do you think about this?
Well, I don't know if women have not put their names forward, but what I know is that INEC should be compelled, to be honest, they should be compelled to deregister any party that does not comply with the 2/3, principle, where not more than 2/3 of any gender should be in a particular place. Women are more than men in Nigeria. I am sure women are more than, and if they say, okay, most of the men are educated, but how many of them now there in those places are educated? And education doesn't mean ABCD only. Education could mean other things. There are women with capacity that can do things. I think INEC should be compelled to deregister those parties, honestly. That's my.
All right, let me recognize the presence of Princess Nikki Onyeri in our midst. Princess, if you have any contribution, please, you are more than welcome. And I also saw Dr. Abdulaziz Ibrahim raising his hands some time ago. I don't know whether you are still wanting to make any contribution at this point. Dr. Ibrahim?
Hello, are you with me? Hello,
Yes.
are you with me?
Yes, go ahead.
Are you with me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Abdulaziz Ibrahim from Kano State.
Yes, you can go ahead and make a contribution.
Yeah, I've listened to my sister very well. What I wanted to contribute is that the women themselves, what I mean, educated women, the elite fails. That means the women elites fail to mobilize right from the grassroots. Right from the grassroots. What I mean by the grassroots, my sister said she's sure the women are more than the men in Nigeria and so on and so forth. Where they fail is that as they are educated, they are supposed to go around. They are supposed to start from the grassroots because, you know, politics is from the grassroots. But the elite women fail to go under to check what is going on among those women from the grassroots.
Okay.
Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, okay. The mobilization should have started from the grassroots. For them to educate the women from the grassroots, what is politics itself? How are they going to participate in politics? What are they supposed to do when politicians comes to them for votes? Is it they are coming to share money? Is it they are coming to ask for their votes? Are they coming, you know, to liberate them from so many things that are happening in terms of education, in terms of skill acquisition, and so many things that women are supposed to be liberated out from what is happening to them nowadays. So I think my contribution is that I want to tell my sister that the elites among them, those that are educated, and most of them are from the grassroots, I believe they should go to the grassroots, educate women on the importance of politics, why they should participate in politics, why they and how they should understand what is politics themselves, and how they should understand the nature of politicians themselves. So this is my contribution.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Hello.
Yeah, do you want to, Dr. Mrs. Ibrahim? Let's allow.
You see, I've heard.
Okay,
I'm here. Princess Nikki Onyeri is here.
Yeah, Mrs. Ibrahim, let's allow Princess Nikki to contribute, and then you will respond to.
Let me respond to. Yeah, you see, I've heard what my brother has said, but you see,
Mrs. Ibrahim, please, may I suggest that you would let's take one more comment and then you respond to both of them at the same time. I hope you are taking note. Yeah, Princess Nikki, please.
Yes. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. This is timely. My sister Amina, you know, we've been discussing this all over again. And what we have said is that part of the problem we've had with women organizations is when it is few days to election, they just surface and start making noise about women. And by the time the election comes, they fizzle out and then start crying over marginalization. But this time around, we have said we are going to do things differently. And one of the issues we have raised is we started a platform where we said women who are interested and capable of contesting for election, like the men have started declaring their interests and campaigning. Where are the women? The women, this is the time. The INEC has released their timetable and said 18th February 2023 is going to be National Assembly elections. That's for 2023. What are we doing? We have started saying women who are capable. What I mean by being capable, you first of all have to be convinced within you that you want to run an election first, and not for a man to convince you to go and run for election. When a man decides to run for election, he is convinced first. It is when you are convinced that you are going to weather the storm, come rain, come sunshine, you are going to weather the storm, whether they call you a prostitute or not, you are going to weather the storm to be able to campaign, to go out there and talk to fellow women. Fellow women, are you ready to support your fellow women? Not to be envious, not to be castigating, because the men don't do that. The men are not the saints, are they? But you see, when a man comes out, fellow men support even when they have a plethora of minus things against them. The men band together and cover and shield. The women are the people who will come up to say, oh, this woman is this, is that. Let me even share what we experienced recently in our platform. We have women, 2 women who have declared for presidency. We have women who have declared for a governorship. So many for National Assembly. What has happened? A woman in our platform raised up and said, why are you going for presidency, for governor? Why don't you go for house of this or house of that? Because I think that you have better chances there. This is horrible. It's scary. For a woman to tell a fellow woman that you shouldn't go for this position, who the hell are you? When I make up my mind to run for a position, I have been convinced within me that I want to run. All I'm asking fellow women is, can we close this gap? We are talking of gender gap. Sorry, the men I don't think are our problem. If the women of this country rise up, like other women in other countries, I have worked in Namibia, I've worked in Rwanda with other global gender activists. And this is what they did. The women close ranks. They close ranks by loving each other. And when a woman declares, they say, you know what? It's going to be 50-50. If a man becomes president, we are going to go for prime minister. In some countries like Namibia, the president is a man, the woman became the prime minister. I have a friend who in Uganda now, she used to be the first female speaker of the parliament. Now she is the first deputy prime minister. She's coming to Nigeria to help to mobilize us. What I'm saying is that, can the women show some love to each other? The women have money. Sorry, it's not money. I mean, my sister, we have said it. We have money. The women, if they decide to make contributions to raise money, which we are coming to, we are going to raise money directly and indirectly across board. We want to sponsor women across board, right from councillorship to chairmanship, because when people make noise and think it's National Assembly, that's the list of our problems. We want women to occupy positions as chairman, as a local government councillor, as State House of Assembly. Then you come to the National Assembly. I am appalled, amazed that our mothers, the Margaret Epus, the Hajia Gambo Sawabas, who did not have the wonderful education, let's put it in quote, that we have, were able to make so much achievements, and now the women have fallen off the loop. How can there be a gender equality bill in the Senate that was brought up by Senator Olujimi, who is running for governor, and she was asked to step it down, and she agreed? And what happened to other women? The women in that National Assembly, all the senators, the female senators, why did they not step up to even support her? Let us hear our voices. So for us, for me in particular, and the group of women, we started reaching out across the nation. We are going to spring some surprises. Women, if you are serious please come out and declare. Sign, do your poster, send it to our organization. We are compiling it. We are going to use it to lobby governors to say support these women. These are the serious women. We don't want a situation also where some women will be sponsored against fellow women. Sorry. Can we have women coming together? I still say it. Show love to each other. If you know a woman is more qualified than you, can you give her that space to run? Because it's a problem we're having. Where
right. I thank you.
So I'll step down there. I'm in
Princess,
you can do justice.
yeah, please, Princess Onyere, I know you will still like to come back on some other topic, but I can see some men raising up, and that please, today is a day for women. So let's allow women to finish the conversation, and then the men can now come. So let's go back to Mrs. Ibrahim. You have had 2 contributions now. How do you have any responses to them?
Yeah, I heard what my brother said about women going to the grassroots and campaigning, but I want to ask, who actually does the voting? It is we women and our children that go to vote, not he and his friends. Or maybe he votes, but most of his friends, I'm sure, will not even go and vote. The so-called elite men don't go to vote. So it is we carrying our children on our backs and dragging them by the hand that go to vote. So, they can't talk to us about grassroots mobilization, And does a woman have to lose her femininity now to be in a position, in a political position? Does it say that she has to be like a man? What women are looking for is not equality. We're looking for equity. We want equality in equity. That is what we are looking for. We are not the same as men. I mean, any woman that thinks she's the same as a man, obviously is just kidding herself, because I am a woman, it's obvious I'm a woman. He's a man, it is obvious he's a man. There's no, sameness in that one. What we want is that equality in the equity. And that we are also part of this community and part of the society, and that we should be given our due and we should be allowed to speak. Now, are we competing gender? We're not competing gender. So I think women should be we should all look at politics, in my view. And like I said, I'm speaking from the women that have not been spoken for. In our view, politics and office is about service. So it's not that we must push. Yes, we have to, we must push, but not for ourselves. It is for us to be able to speak on those issues that are important to us. So I agree with my sister, but at the same time also, it is only when we leave our femininity as to who we are as women and get in that position as females, as women, that we can really look at the girl child, not the way the man would look at it, because if we're competing with the man, then we're going to look at it from his perspective as well. But as women, with our femininity, we'll look at maternal mortality, we'll look at gender-based violence, we'll look at out-of-school children, they are our children, we will look at economic empowerment, because the women that are rich are very rich, those that are poor are absolutely zero poor. So we would look at those, we still look at even the endemic, drug and, things like that. It is only in our femininity that we can do it. Because with women in things like this, then the world is fairer. We have to accept, we have to agree. It is fairer, it is kinder, it is more just, it is more compassionate. These are the things we want to inject into the polity and into the system. This is what is missing. And that is why you have thuggery. That is why we are afraid of insecurity, when it comes to elections, and it is only when we are there, from the party structure down, up to whatever position. It is only when we get there, and we get there as who we are, not as somebody who is contesting or who is competing with a man, or who has to leave her femininity because they're calling the meeting at whatever wee time in the night, and she has to be there because otherwise the man would say she's not serious. If she calls them in the afternoon when she's cooking and her children are all running around her, will they come for that meeting? We have to look at these things from those perspectives. And like I said, I am looking at it from the perspective of the woman in the North and the kind of things that we want to see. God forbid that I should be the same with any man. I am not a man, but I am equal to the task any man can do. And I want that equity to be given to me to show that and to prove that I can do it for myself and for my own kin and for my own people. Thank you.
All right, so at this point, let's call on Otumba, please.
Hello, thank you very much, Dan, for giving me this fantastic opportunity. Let me also want to congratulate Lady Amina.
Thank you.
And I still look forward to having you on my own program too. You know, we've been communicating. Now, two things. I want to start by saying women cannot eat their cake and have it, like the saying goes. People cannot eat their cake and have it. As long as women, especially in Africa, in particular in Nigeria, still want to be 100% taken care of by men, men will continue to dominate. And that's why I want to agree with Dr. Ibrahim when he said, look, the campaign, the efforts to wrestle power from men, especially in Nigeria, we have to be a business of campaign.
It's a business of
getting the awareness to the grassroots,
yes.
Getting the awareness to women, and making women to understand. And like I said, no, I'm not being, I don't want to say anything that will upset anybody. But the problem is, as long as we have this mentality, this thinking, of course, I know women that because they were abused by their husband, because they believe that they can do a lot of things by themselves, for themselves and the family and for the community, they've gone out of the relationship. I'm not propagating that. I'm not saying women should leave their husband, but it has to come to a time when women will have to put their feet down to say, you know what? It is what a man can do, a woman can do it. Let us get this thing clear. I can also be a president. I want your support. And then you can start this campaign by at least removing some of these hurdles. Without removing any of these hurdles, there's still going to be a kind of a mirage for women because they will always have to be stopped. I'm the owner. I can decide. We can decide is what we say that goes. I can tell you there are millions of young people out there, not necessarily girls or women, there are young men that want to hear from people like you that has all the necessary requisites to be president of Nigeria. So that's just a little contribution I have. And again, I'm still looking forward to have you on my program. Thank you. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you
Okay,
very much.
just for Ms. Ibrahim,
Can
can
I
you hear me?
Yeah. Can I respond to that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
thank you
before
so
you
very
respond,
much.
just before you respond, let's take another comment from Rampam Junior. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Let's just take a
wonderful.
second comment and then you please.
Okay. The wonderful.
Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
Our guest is doing wonderful, honestly. The way she speaks with vibrancy, it actually gets me really convinced. We need to really step on our affirmative action. There is, however, I think on the same platform some time ago, a woman was complaining that she couldn't get her political seat through because of the issue of molestation by men within the party hierarchy, that she didn't sleep around. Having said that, I don't know how true. When I was in politics, we moved around with my principal and from local government to local government. And sometimes we could take 3-4 days outside. A school of thought has it that most Nigerian men will not allow their women to take the risk of going outside on party train for politics from one place to the other because it's risky. And secondly, within the family setup, the woman is seen as the helper of the man. So somehow, by default, it happens that whichever party the man is, becomes the family's party. So most women would rather vote for the party where their husbands are than to support any other woman. What do you have to say about that?
Okay. Thank you, my brother. You see, again, it goes back to sensitization. It goes back also to the kind of attitude we have as generally both men and women, how we bring up our homes. There's no way a man is, a woman is going to be the same as a man. I agree with that. But at the same time, she has her own intellect. She has her own personality. She should be, she should be supported to say, to have an opinion. Yeah, from the north, and you know that, for us, that is why our men are able to live with 4 wives. He listens to every one of them. He agrees with every one of them. He doesn't do any of those things. That's the politics for him. But to say that a woman should not have her opinion, or that the man is because the man is in a particular party, she has to be in a particular party. I don't think that washes, to be honest. In my house, in my family house, we even have people in Abga. We have people from what's that one? Oh God, I've forgotten the name. It starts with A. We have YPP. We have so many parties in my house. You are free to join whatever party you want to join. My father was even different. When my father was in PRP, a lot of us were in MPN. So I don't know where that one is coming from, to be honest. But again, let me speak to the speaker before the last. Is there even an election? Let us ask ourselves that question. So whatever we do, we can scream and cry and do whatever, go to the grassroots from now to kingdom come. Will there be an election? When you have an election that they will tell you is inconclusive, and then they'll go and do whatever, some shenanigans, and something else comes out. Look, these people, for as long as money is used, and it will be used, and women don't have it. To be honest, we don't have it, and they will use it because the women don't have it. It has been used as a weapon for hunger, and because there's hunger and there's poverty, and it will still be used for as long as we don't remove that, and then do some constitutional, changes. For example, amend Section 14 of the Constitution, which talks about federal character, saying women also are marginalized because we are a group, and we are marginalized when it comes to the governance of this country. These are the kind of intellectual things we can come up with. But the muzzle that the men use, please, women should not try to use it. I will not encourage any woman to do like the men are doing. And I firmly believe there is no election, because I won an election, it was taken away from me. It was obvious. And I'm not the only one. So I think we need to really, stop even deluding ourselves into thinking it is because women don't vote. It is because we do. And the votes are there. People go to vote. And even the men vote for women. But the elections just never happens. I mean, you just don't get it. So INEC should come into this, I think. And maybe it should unbundle, because I think INEC has a lot on its plate. Maybe we should really, pieces it and make, let them have other things. Let other people do some things. But in my opinion, really, once women can get the equity that they're looking for, Nigeria will change, definitely.
Let's take 2 comments from Mazi Okoye and
okay, let us listen to another comment. I can see Mazi Okoye.
Yes, thank you, Augusta. Thank you, Amina. I think, Amina, you understand. I think you have a good idea of the situation of the Nigerian woman, so to say, the challenges there, and the prospects there, and the rest of it. However, I don't think women in Nigeria can go it alone and believe that they can, violently or, competitively, take on the men in terms of what we are talking about, because our culture and our society is still very much chauvinistic and very, hostile and violent towards, women. So I think women in Nigeria and elsewhere in Africa need educating the men also, because it takes two to tango. We know how the the European women, especially in this country, the United Kingdom, fought not to be able to vote. Even in the United States, we know that about 5 women was killed in the House of Commons in the early parts of democracy here. So demanding their rights to have a voice. So it's not an easy task, because society has to be prepared and willing to appreciate the value of women, which our men, most of our men, has not got to that, mentality yet. I heard Atumba saying that women demanding or expecting men to do so and so. That is not right. And the doctor also saying that women fail to organize and grassroots and all that, but failing to appreciate the difficulty of such taking on violence, violent people, and extremely at that. You mentioned, I mentioned about thuggery in politics in Nigeria, which is a huge problem for any woman, any decent woman to take on thugs and deal with it successfully. So I think there's a challenge there, and it should be, good men, the good men amongst us, taking it also amongst ourselves to try to educate fellow men that the importance and the value that women brings to society. Women are not just there to be a mother and feed the children and look after the home. They also have a huge contribution to make to society in general. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mazi Okoye. Let us take Alpha Marshall. Alpha Marshall, your hand is up.
Okay, good evening. Am I heard?
Yes, you can go on.
Okay, my name is Marshall, calling from Abuja on behalf of More Action Let's Talk, MALT. This is a wonderful conversation. I've listened to all the contributors, and I must say it has been quite a wonderful time. I just want to chip in one or two things. Women in politics in Nigeria has come a long way, and I will tell you they have done wonderfully well. Fortunately, from the First Republic 1960, the women were very, very active in persons like Funmilayo Ransome Kuti, Gambo Sawaba, Margaret Epo. They blazed the trail. After their time passed, there was an interregnum. At Second Republic till now, nothing really happened over those years. Just recently, there seems to be a kind of a resurgence of the women folks again, coming up to take their place in society. And that is quite commendable. For example, there was this Natasha Akpoti came up for governorship in Kogi State in the last election. That was commendable. There was this lady called Iyom Uche Ekwenife came out for governorship in Anambra State in 2015 election, which she lost, obviously, and she did wonderfully well. There was also at the PDP level, they had a presidential candidate aspirant that lost at the primaries by the name Sarah Jubril. So these women have done well, and there's this resurgence, which is commendable. I will say that the women need to organize. They really need to organize. The society nature of Nigeria will not permit women to just step up. It will not allow them. So they have to organize to take their place in the country, in this political situation. Because in the Nigerian system, women are considered to be second-class citizens, which ought not to be. They have to take that position. They won't just be given power. Power is never given. They have to take it. And to take it, they have to organize. Look at what happened at the Senate recently. Senator Olujimi moved the motion that women gender equality bill, and I could imagine what she went through. for the senator to shut her down and ask her to sit down and to withdraw that bill. And I'm asking myself, where were the women in the Senate? Though they are few, but what did they do? So I am proposing, if the women in Nigeria they have to organize. It's just the best way to go. They have to organize and be able to stand up and say, this is what we want and this is what we are going for, and they will get it. It's a matter of time, and that time has come. So like the former, one of the contributors made a suggestion that she belongs to an organization that reaches out to women. If they can call all the female members in the House of Reps of Nigeria and also the female senators in the upper chamber to a meeting and share the thoughts of the need to support each other and to uphold the right of women in this country, they will go a long way. The time has come and the time is now, and they have shown tenacity and they can get there and they will get there. Just a matter of time, and that time is now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think what we've had so far, contributions, not questions. So let's take Stella. Stella, go ahead.
Thank you, Augusta. Thank you so much for the thought. In fact, Alpha Marshall just said my mind concerning this whole thing. Princess Nkoye said something about it too. We have all it takes to take power in Nigeria, but we just need a structure on ground. And without overflogging all the things that are being said, let's talk about way forward. And I think the way forward I'm seeing here is we need to start from the grassroots. The grassroots is not about campaign of come and vote for me. The grassroots campaign we should start from community to community, from village to village, is to gather women together and make them see the importance of coming out, to represent them in the leadership of the country. And then the need for women to support one another, to support women, just like Comrade Amina said. She said, who are these people who go out to vote? Women go out to vote. So if they go out to vote, it is important for them to know the person they should vote for. Somebody also made mention of the fact that, I think it was Otumba who made mention of the fact that when these women go out to vote, yes, they go out to vote, but who do they vote for? And for what purpose? Is it when they give them money, they now start selling their votes or something? No. So we need actually to carry out a structure, a campaign. Following, I just want to take it off from what Princess said. If there is a group like that, now let's see how the group can be established in each community, or how the group can reach out to various communities in Nigeria to say, look, we need to vote for women. We need women to come out. And as they are coming out, as they are going from one community or the other like that, they will be able to also identify women who have qualities of leadership, and they can also train them, and make them and inculcate them into the system to see how they can move forward. So we need a structure. Then lastly, I want to say that it is not every fight that you have to fight violently. Concerning the case of women in politics in Nigeria, we don't have to be violent like the men. I'm sorry to say for the men. We don't have to be violent like the men. You can fight some battles with your brain. And I know that there are women amongst us who can put structures on ground through lobbying, through a lot of things strategically, and we take over power. What we need right now is a structure. Who bails the cat? What organization will bail the cat? And how will the membership be? Where will they launch the membership so that this campaign can start as soon as possible from all grassroots level? Grassroots level is the importance of women voting and supporting one another. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let us hear from the next person, Otumba. Otumba, your hand is up.
I don't know her name. She's leave now.
Otumba.
Mama Taraba. She continues for governorship in Taraba State.
Otumba, your hand is up. If we don't have Otumba, we can take Afi. Okay, I can see that the people's hand, they're not speaking. Afi, are you there? Okay.
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. I just want to say a few things. I think that, first of all, a lot of us women who supposedly want to go into politics, we ourselves do not even understand the nature of power. politics is about power. It's not necessarily about representation. That is the superficial reason. At the end of the day, it's about power. And power is never given. Power is never shared. You have to fight for it. So we're not going to have to be like men. We're going to have to be even stronger than men. Because I hear us, still, we're this, we just want equity. We're still appealing. We don't even understand what this is about. We're still appealing to sensitivities. That's not what power is about. And of course, power is also about organization. So, everybody has said the correct things. We need to go to the grassroots. We need to do this. We need to do that. But if we ourselves do not understand the question of power and the dynamics of power and how you get power, we're going nowhere. We are going nowhere. You will actually find that if women, with the correct kind of politics and approach come up, even the men will be in the forefront of supporting us, not just because we're women, but because there's an understanding of power. But we're still, supplicating and all of this. So it's going to have to be about organization. But the point I'm making is that, first of all, there's going to have to be a lot of teachings amongst ourselves and trainings, on what it's all about. Now, as somebody else earlier also said something, in order to contest for elections, campaigns have to start on the last day of the last election. Not when the new election is coming up. I think it was Princess, somebody mentioned that earlier. We have to start the campaigns on, so we're raising the profile. And also, it's not enough for us to come out just during elections. We've got to be consistent. Do people know our names, our voices? Do we have a profile? Do we raise issues? Do we identify with the issues of our people consistently? So there's some of these, things that are going to be key for us, who are women in politics. And we must stop being apologetic. We don't have to be violent. Nobody is talking about being violent. So we must stop bringing it up. I haven't heard anyone, here today say, women have to be violent. But you hear women say, we don't need to be violent. We stop being apologetic about things that haven't been brought up. What's her name? The woman from Cross River State. You know who I'm talking about, the one who is a senator, Itabasi, Mrs. Giwa, Itagiwa, I think, yeah, that's her name. It will be very interesting to hear her own history, of how she got, to be, where she is in terms of politics, playing politics. So, I just wanted to raise that flag because I'm hearing the apologia in women speaking, Now, there are other women who have connections, family connections, they have a family name that is well known. They're going to get a smoother ride into politics. But in terms of regular women, it's the fight is going to have to be harder than that of men, but with an understanding that politics is not just about representation, it's about power. So I just want to leave it, there for now. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Let us listen to Otumba. Otumba, if you're not ready, we would move on. Otumba. All right, let's go back to our guest, Miss Ibrahim. You've heard what a lot of people have said. Do you have any reaction? Miss Ibrahim, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now.
Okay.
Like I said.
Yeah.
So that's your reaction. Okay, all right.
Yeah, you see, I have learned a lot from what she has said, and I understand where she's coming from. But also, you see, from the very beginning of this program, I said I'm going to speak for the woman that is not usually spoken for. You see, we cannot use just the one experience or one kind of way of, to describe how women.
Still on?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Ibrahim, please go on.
Yeah. Okay. You see, we must recognize our differences and where we come from and what we do and the way we do things. I'm a human rights lawyer. I actually read human rights, and I can be very, very vehement about my views when it comes to the rights of women, especially under the United Nations conventions and all that. But when I was campaigning, I know or where I come from, and what I should say to them for them to accept me. I start by saying, this is who I am. This is my father's name. This is my husband's name. I have 4 children. I have grandchildren. I give them all that. I work wherever. I'm a lawyer. And they feel comfortable with this is the person that they are talking to. Ideally, under the human rights, whatever, I'll just say, look, it doesn't matter if I'm a man or a woman, a he, she, or a lesbian, it doesn't matter who I am. This is who I am, and this is what people should accept me for. But I know I cannot do that with the kind of people I'm coming from. I have to give them that comfort. I have to put them in that comfort zone where they could see, this is the person that we can relate to. So we cannot, the way I've always said, the way my sister from Lagos would present herself would be different from the way my sister from Maiduguri, will present herself. We have to put that in mind, and that is the diversity of Nigeria, and that is the beauty of Nigeria. So yes, I hear what they're saying, but again, like I said, I'm speaking for those of us that have not been spoken for, and that is why you find there's only the singular woman in the Senate. There's only one Northern Nigerian woman from the Northeast. She's the only one that is there, and that's why I also spoke about the Chairman House Committee on Women Affairs being a man in a particular state. It's because we are not there to speak for ourselves. And if we are going to go by the way that Lagosian is probably going to speak or going to do her politics, we will not go anywhere in Kano, to be honest. The important thing is use what you have to get what you need. And so we are going to use the ways that and the means that we have to get to that position so that we can be able to make those changes we are talking about. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And that's as much as we can take on today's exclusive interview. We have been talking about women participation in politics towards Nigeria 2020 election. Special thanks to our guest, Ms. Amina Ibrahim Bibi Farouk. She's a legal practitioner and public affairs commentator. Thank you so much, Ma, for coming today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
And also remember to stay back as we would continue discussion after we end the live streaming and the recording. This program was recorded, and you can ask for a recording, or you can go back and watch it on YouTube